What's up? I'm going to be showing you how to sell a car that you're looking to potentially flip for profit. I'll be covering everything from exactly what apps you should use to post it up, what price you should be posting it up for, as well as how to handle potential buyers that may be coming to check out the car as well. My name is Jamal from Flipping University. Let's get to it. Alright, so for the first part, which is just posting the car for sale, the main thing to begin with is really just taking pictures of the car and taking good pictures at the right time as well. So to show that, I'm here at just a public area around me. There's a lot of stores and everything like that around the area too, and just a lot of open, clean space as well. This is really what you want. You don't want to be in some junkyard looking spot or even a spot in front of your house. It just doesn't look as professional. You want to get out to a spot like this where it just gives it a better light for the car and for people to see it's a decent looking car right off the bat. When it comes to the time to take the pictures, that also does actually make a difference. Usually the best time, first of all, sorry, I'm about to like cry. This wind is blowing through my face and it's pretty cold out. But the best time is really at a time when the sun is not directly beaming onto the car. So preferably either when the sunrise is coming or the sunset. Either or is really good. Or if it's a time where it's like a really cloudy day or the sun is being blocked by the clouds, that's great too. But regardless, you just don't want it to have the car just being completely beat down by the sun. It's just not good when it comes to the pictures. The pictures aren't really going to be coming out as good, and the color isn't going to pop as good as if the sun was not just directly beaming onto the car. And now when it comes to the pictures you're going to be taking, you're going to take a couple of main pictures of the car. Generally, I like to take like angled pictures of the outside, and then when it gets to the inside of the car, I like to put it into like a wide angle view and just take as much in one picture as possible. And I'm just going to be showing you on screen the pictures that I took for this car. I'm not actually posting this up for sale, this truck. It's like my work truck. But I'll just use it as an example so you guys can see. But realistically, the more the merrier when it comes to pictures. You know, you don't want to try to like hide anything that the person would see if they actually came to check out the car. You want it to be an accurate example of what they're going to be seeing if they're going to be coming out in person. So if you could take like 15 pictures of the car, if possible, that's great. Alright, so now for the next part, which is basically just actually posting it up. We already took the pictures, now we're back inside. And when it comes to the app that you're going to be primarily using, I would generally use Facebook as the biggest app to use, and the first one I would generally post it up for. People don't use things like Craigslist anymore, especially nowadays. You have to go paying just to post up the car. It might be like $5 or so just to post it up. A lot of people nowadays just use Facebook Marketplace, so that's like the initial one. You could also use OfferUp, but first of all, with OfferUp you only get like one free post per month generally. And then after that you have to pay for that as well. And in general, Facebook Marketplace, you're just going to get more traction off the car as well. So you could use OfferUp just as that one post in a month, but after that I wouldn't really do that. Regardless, you should be doing Facebook Marketplace. And this is the listing that I have right here. So I already posted up the pictures and everything that I took. I already showed you the pictures that I took beforehand, but it's just posting it up into Facebook Marketplace now. And when it comes to what you should be putting on the ad, of course the main things, you know, you're basically just going to be filling out exactly what Facebook tells you is like options for the car. So, you know, don't lie about what the car is. If there's something wrong with the car, you know, make sure you're putting it in here. Don't lie about the year or whatever. If it's a clean title, put that stuff. You know, that's all stuff that people want to know. But when it comes to the description, that's the next important part. So you're going to be doing it in one main way. So of course, again, you're going to be honest about the car. If there's anything that you see as being wrong with the car, make sure you just put it here, so it's not where people have to go and check out the car and then they end up wasting, you know, you both end up wasting time basically, just because the guy comes all that time, all that way to check out the car, and then he ends up finding out a bunch of things that you didn't mention beforehand. You might as well just put it in here. But the way that I usually do it is I'll do it in like a sandwich basically. So I'll put the good stuff first. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount of stuff, but just some type of good stuff first. Then whatever bad thing there is about the car, and there's always going to be generally something bad about the cars. Even if it's something you want to nitpick on, there's going to be something that you can nitpick on that they could potentially nitpick on as well if they came for the car. And then following up with the good part again after to kind of close off with that. So I'm going to put in the description a quick example of that, and then you guys could see what I put. Alright, so I just filled out everything here. So I listed, all right, it's a '04 Chevy Avalanche in good condition for sale with no mechanical problems or dash lights on. The only negative is there is some surface rust along the body of the car, but nothing penetrating. It comes with great heat and AC as well as a current inspection sticker. So nothing crazy. I will say, if there is a car that you have and you're listing as more of a premium car, that's where you want to put on some of those premium features. So let's say things that people want to see, like potentially or backup camera, or if there's Bluetooth in the car, like upgraded options like that, you should be putting that here as well, just so that people could see that extra value that the car also has. And for the last part, I did also leave out the pricing, and we're going to get on to the pricing now. All right, so to talk about the pricing, we're going to go over the Kelley Blue Book. And the reason why I generally use Kelley Blue Book as one of the initial things that I use is just because most people check Kelley Blue Book when it comes to the pricing tool that they use when they're going to check out the car. So you might as well use the same thing. There's other pricing websites out there as well, but this is really the main one that people use. So the main thing you're going to be doing when you're first initially posting up the car is, of course, you want to go to Kelley Blue Book, fill out everything that's accurately about your car. I already kind of skipped by that step, but before that, you know, you'd have to choose exactly what your trim is and different things like that. Then when you go to private party value, it's going to bring you over to this screen right here, and it's going to show it in a couple different ways. It's going to show you what the average private party value is, and that's basically what that middle sticker price is right there. So let's say for the truck I have is $4,800. Then it's going to show you both sides as well. So let's say at the lowest side of that, it basically will go from around $3,500 for what I have, and then on the highest end it'll go to $6,200. So generally what I would say to do, just because you want to try to price it at a decent price so that you can make good profit off of it, but at the same time you want to be able to sell it quick. That's a big part of the game as well. You don't want the car to just be sitting for forever. So generally what I do is I look at that average private party value, and you just want to go a little under that. So let's say if you're just posting it up, you could post it up for, let's say if it's $4,800, you can go to $4,600 just posting it up. And you want to start at a little bit of the higher end, just so that, you know, let's say when people are hitting you up, realistically most people are going to try to negotiate you down a little bit, so you want to go a little bit higher than you really want to sell it for. And then let's say if time is going by and you're not getting that much traction on the car, you could always lower it down over time. And of course you can't really do that opposite. You can't start it off lower and then once you start getting traction, be like, you know what, I want to raise it up. I mean, you could, but you know, people are going to see, hey, didn't you list it for this price before? And it's going to be kind of sketchy. So that's basically what you just want to do. Start high and then kind of work your way down if possible. And one more thing I did also want to mention before I left the whole pricing category is the fact that technically there is different categories that you could go for in the pricing as well. So let's say for this truck, I have it listed in good condition. Honestly, I would say most cars that you sell, especially if it's a cheaper car or something like that, are going to be in that good condition range. Above that, there's different conditions, like let's say fair condition, that's like the bottom of the barrel. That's where, you know, the car has a good amount of dents and is decently busted up and different things like that. And maybe it has like rust problems and all that stuff. Then there's very good condition, over good condition, and then excellent condition. So generally speaking, I mean, you shouldn't even be really trying to sell a car in fair condition. Most cars that you sell you should at least be trying to get it to good condition, just because if it's in fair condition, it's going to take a lot longer to sell. Most people are just going to pass it just because it doesn't look like that good of a car. If it's a very good condition car, which is basically where, you know, the car doesn't have much of any like big cosmetic defects and everything's good mechanically and all that stuff, that's good. You know, if you could potentially sell it in that range as well. Just make sure you're actually doing work to try to get to that condition. And it does depend on the car, you know, if you're actually going to take the certain amount of time it takes to get it into very good condition. But of course, if that's the case, let's say from this car going from good condition to very good condition, boom, bumps up the price a pretty decent amount as well. But again, it all depends on the car, really. You have to see if it makes sense to actually put in that extra time to get that car into that extra condition. Most cars, if it's a used car like that, you're not going to be able to get it into excellent condition. That's basically like a dang near brand new car. But it's up to you if you want to try to get into that very good condition range as well. Alright, so now we're back outside to talk about the last part, which is just meeting up with the potential buyer. So this is the part where it gets pretty fun. I will say you better have some good patience here, because when you post up that car, hopefully at least, you should be getting a good amount of people hitting you up, especially if you followed what I talked about, pricing it up competitively as well. But if that's the case, it also means there's going to be a lot of people, honestly, that's going to be wasting your time. I'd say probably if 10 people are hitting you up, 7 of those people are just going to be people that's just going to be like, hi, is this still available? Or they'll hit you up and then they'll just stop replying, and then that's it. They just kind of wasted your time, their time. I don't know what was the point of it, but it happens. But eventually there's going to be someone that's going to hit you up. It isn't going to be a lowball offer. It's going to be hitting you up, either just not even talking about price yet, or they'll talk about price potentially when they get there, whatever the case may be. You want it to be where when you're bringing up the place to meet up, I generally wouldn't say it would be good to meet up at your own house. Specifically, especially if you're flipping cars and a good amount of cars in a year, you don't want to be giving out your address to a lot of different people. I would say, again, meeting up in a spot like this, a public spot around you where, you know, it's just going to be a lot safer to meet up. And on top of that, you also want to meet up in the daylight, of course, not at nighttime. People, of course, could try to do some sketchy things meeting up at nighttime, and especially if there's no one else around. You are having them there checking out the car. It's really not going to be too hard, as long as the car is generally around what they were expecting. They're going to be interested in the car. It's only going to be when they're getting into the car and there's a whole bunch of things that they weren't expecting, where they're going to potentially feel like they just wasted their time. But generally speaking, you're just going to be there kind of being a guide for what they're looking for in the car. And when it comes to them checking out the car, you also generally want to let them test drive it as well. Usually they don't have to check out a crazy amount. They usually don't have to be taking it down the highway or whatever, but most people at least want to just take it down the street to make sure the transmission shifts to the first couple of gears and different things like that. And for that point, usually I would just jump in the car with them. You could just hop in the passenger seat or whatever and make sure that, you know, they're actually going on a decent test drive with it and not going to be doing some crazy thing, trying to go drifting around with the car or something stupid like that. And then if all that goes well and they're actually interested in the car, of course that's going to be the time that they're going to try to make you an offer. Most people are going to try to negotiate down on the price a little bit, but all you have to do is just stay firm to your price. You know, have a minimum price that you want to stick to in mind before they even come, and then when they come, just try to stick around that. Of course, if it is where they do end up trying to come down like maybe $100 from what your minimum price is, it's not too bad. You don't want it to end up being where you have to wait a whole nother, you don't want it to be where you have to potentially wait a whole nother week to sell the car to someone else just because of that $100 that you wanted to make extra. You know, you don't know when the next time will end up being, when the next person will come to check out the car. But also it does depend how many other people are interested in the car. If you see that there's a lot of interest in the car, a lot of people are hitting you up, maybe you could be a little bit more firm with your price as well. And if you did want help with actually picking the right car to flip, which is probably the most important part of the whole process, I did put together a free checklist just highlighting those main points to make sure that you're picking the right car and it's not going to be something that's going to potentially lose you money. If you want access to that, just go to the link in the description below. But that's everything. Hopefully you can sell your next car nice and easy. And if you want more content for just flipping cars, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Adios.